This is Bill Arman, co-founder of the Harvest Group, and I serve as head harvester on the West Coast. This is going to be on our leadership series this session. Ed LaFlamme and I go all around the United States and we ask leaders certain questions. And today we ask them this question here. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made? What's the biggest mistake? Now, we've all made mistakes, but here's the leaders confessing some of their mistakes. See if they sound familiar to you. We'll be right back after this.
You know, there was a lot of mistakes. I don't know if I could say there's definitively one mistake that I've made, but small ones were not consulting with industry experts or friends quickly enough.
I think one thing I might have done differently, I can't say a big mistake, but I did take a detour from the landscape industry for about 4 years. One of my top clients in Florida asked me to become a project manager within the construction industry, and I was building high-rise condominiums for about 4 years in the development industry. Learned a lot. It was like learning a whole different language and a whole different skill set. Still use my talents. It was a great accomplishment. It was a great credit to be asked to become a project manager for this company and build $80 million buildings. But what I found it did is it took me away from my roots and realized I missed the industry. And so when I came back, it was like old home week, being able to see friends and business associates again. So I may not have taken that detour.
I've been quick to hire and slow to fire people, and that stems a lot from the belief that people are good and you can get whatever you possibly can out of people. And there's times where you got to follow your gut instinct and just cut your losses when the time is right. And I've probably not done that as well as I could in different situations.
There's a lot of stuff you do day to day and year to year, but I think the key part of that is that you find out what they are and you find the answers and you overcome them and move forward. So as far as looking back 45 years, I really feel that we've accomplished a lot, and that mistakes were little mistakes, and we overcame them.
Early on, and we were operating a landscape company out of the back of a garden center in a residential neighborhood, and it was a conditional use only, but we had grown and we had outgrown the neighborhood, and they were complaining because we were loading trucks at night, and it was definitely impacting them. But I guess we kind of stuck it out there longer than we should have until finally the neighborhood got together and challenged it, and then it ended up being pulled into city council, and so then we were given a deadline to vacate or relocate. And that was a long time ago, but looking back, I think that that I should have been looking forward to know that I had outgrown that space, and if I wasn't going to grow anymore, then fine, stick it out. But the reality is that my future and my plan was my vision was obviously a lot bigger than that property would ever allow. So I probably should have been proactive, avoided our neighborhood, our neighbors who are customers of our garden center. I could have avoided all of that trouble and saved myself a lot of time by being a lot more proactive and plan for that move in advance. And the reality is that after we found the property, made the move, it was like a whole new chapter. It just that move alone took the company to the next level. And so what I was doing in not acting proactive was holding the company back.
I have a lot of mistakes. We all make mistakes, but I don't know if you call them big mistakes. They're a series of little mistakes. They're timing mistakes. They're not doing something you should have done. When you're doing Monday quarterbacking and you're trying to figure out what you should have done and didn't do. Maybe not putting our processes together earlier in our business. Those are the kind of mistakes that I see. Being hesitant on offering new services or doing new things, not being bold enough and taking that extra step. Those are the kind of mistakes. I don't know if I consider those big mistakes, but they're maybe missed opportunities, is what you might call it, rather than a mistake.
Wow, how many do you want? Because it's more than one. If you make mistakes once, that's okay. But if you make them twice or 3 times, that's not very good. But there's numerous mistakes. Hiring mistakes, some sales mistakes, some leadership mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's a point of correcting them as time goes on.
So some of these mistakes sound familiar to you? You bet they do, because I've made a few of these myself, I have to admit. I know Ed has made all of these mistakes, maybe twice. He can't be here to protect himself, but that's okay. So here we are, not consulting with friends and experts sooner. They're thinking they know everything, but they don't seek and take good counsel. Being more proactive with their business, don't be reactive. Too quick to hire and too slow to fire. Man, how many times have you heard that one? That was a good one that Jen chirped in there, wasn't it? Being more bold. So those are great mistakes that we can all learn from. So what do they sound familiar to you? So here's the question. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made? And what did you learn from that? And more importantly, what have you done with that? What have you learned from that? And what have you done with that? That's the question I have for you. This is Head Harvester Bill Arman. Now go out there and harvest your potential.